Hello. Yep, I know you see me. I was just looking at the comments here. So let's kind of go through it. Hey, Mike. Um, hey, Leto. Well, of course, Hey, Leto. Glad you're here. Um, saw the Critical Blast open, Mike. So you checked that out, huh? Geez, that was terrible and good at the same time. Love the shout out to Batgoat's knowledge. The drama is a little too deep for me since I don't follow Yeah, I mean, some of the underlying issues there weren't even, it wasn't just revolving around comedy, but just around entertainment as a whole. Because I think, well, basically, as RJ put it, the reason the guy came after me was because he was getting called out on some stuff there that, where I guess he's going around calling people predators. So, yeah, I saw the dude trolling. To be fair, he could have asked me those same questions, and I would have answered very similarly as you did, since I donate to a lot of people on the street. Well, first off, in the state of being fair here, I didn't know a lot of what was going on, anyways. Okay, now, yeah, I up until today because I did unsubscribe to them, but I was a subscriber to Geeky Pixie, among other things. I had always believed them to be a young woman. Um, my interactions with them were genuinely positive. I guess what ended up happening, as I came to learn as I looked into it a little further, apparently about 3 days after the last time I had any contact with that channel, was when all that was going down. When I guess Gigi Pixie was being exposed as being a guy pretending to be a girl. So that was what all that was about. I see you, Mike. Yeah, I said today is today is new day. Yeah, I've already honestly, Leto, I've already processed everything out of all that I need to process. I'm basically ready to move on from that. I glad you did watch for RJ's sake. I'm glad you did watch the go back and watch the stream and stuff like that. As I mentioned there, I don't really like getting into all that drama either. There's enough channels out there that just do drama and do the whole gotcha and let's see who we can expose today, and let's see who we can get canceled by this, that, and the next thing. um, there's enough of that going around already. Um, that's why when I do my live streams, of course, I try. It's one thing to critique somebody's bad behavior, as we oftentimes do with whether it's like KV or comic, or anti-comic skate or what have you. It's one thing to critique bad behavior. It's another to try to go out of your way to ruin somebody. Um, you know, there's already enough channels out there that do the whole gotcha. It's not my thing. I prefer trying to do something a little more positive. You know, you know, try to put more of a positive spin. Get information out on comics, animes, what have you. Um, you know, I mean, I hope you guys all, when you guys are always in here, you are always having a good time. Learning things, and not worrying about whether or not somebody's going to come in and troll or or what have you. I mean, yes, we have our troll or two here once in a while too, but it's not about yes, it's not about seeing who you can gotcha today or who you can gotcha tomorrow. It's not about who you can put down. It's about getting into the media and enjoying it, you know, and trying to find some positive stuff to focus on. There's too much negativity as it is in the world we live in today, you know. So as we're of course waiting for some more people to show up, um, you know, I'm glad you're here though. Um, let's see. I guess give me a sec. Let I just got to do something real quick here. Apparently, I thought this was not going to be a problem tonight, but I guess it is. All right, that would seem to be a little bit better. I was thinking we weren't going to have too much of glare because today here in California we were overcast most of the day. But hey, Woody, I see you. But apparently I just got some glare there, so I had to do something about that. So, anyways, let's see what said since I want to try to do the same. Very grateful that you gave me ideas on covering mini stories because I know I can't always stream like I want to since I work too much hard. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, as I said, I love getting the information out there for people, and then whatever you decide to do. I mean, I do know you said recently you appreciate the fact that I let you know about CBR, which I'm glad that's been a good source for you. So, any good topics for today? I read a lot of articles, but nothing really good. Well, I did find some stuff on you know, see, we now have three people in here, even though it keeps saying two, because now it's like Woody, you, and me. Um, and of course, the YouTube's being a little stinker right now. Let's see. Well, we got three people in here. Let me get through these chats real quick. Hi, Mike. Hey, little. Hey, Woody. Morning, Woody. And how are you, my friend? Okay. All right. So, with all that, I guess with the three of there's at least three of us. Well, I may wait a let's see, a nine or three right there. Oh, nine. Okay. All right. So we're at like 9.5 minutes right now. So um, I was saying nice cat, Woody. Yep. So we're coming up on 10 minutes. I guess I should kind of go into. So we'll have six stories today. Um, all of them from Bounding into Comics, four from the comics, four that are comics related, including two that are DC related, and a couple anime stories. The stories include, let's see, an Arc Tunes review of their latest digital comics. Uh, Hawkman artist Brian, and this story has been kind of being covered over the last week or so. Brian Hitch, making basically calling out DC for his comic failing. Um, let's see. I know that John Trent's got a couple of stories, one of which is looking back at a classic, and I guess they just started it this week or this weekend or whatever. Um, a classic cover, like cover of the day kind of thing going on there that John Trent's doing, and then there's some news announcement on a Masters of the Universe tie-in series from Dark Horse, and then um, and then a couple other stories that have been kind of going around, been a bit from the anime side of it. Mangaka Ken Akamatsu, um, basically talking about the growing pressure from the West to try to make things more PC in mangas, and then veteran anime director Shinji Wakamatsu talking about Chinese censorship of anime. Um, so let's see. And I know you just said some bounding into comics are a good source, but a little one sided, but in a good way. Laugh a lot. Well, yeah, I mean, well, I would say that in some respect, in terms of the ideological bent, I'd say Bounding into Comics and CBR kind of balance each other out. Yes, Bounding into Comics does seem to be more quote unquote right leaning, um, more more on the conservative mindset, where maybe CBR may be a little bit more left leaning or liberal liberal mindset. So um, I guess a real simple way to put it, you could say that Bounding into Comics is Trump and CBR is Biden. Now that's a real simplistic way of saying it, but oh, and RJ's here. Hey, RJ, we are about to get into the articles here. We're just kind of okay. Let's see. We need someone to balance out the Mary Sue. I don't read the Mary Sue. I've never actually read the Mary Sue, so I have heard though that the Mary Sue does tend to be very pretty left leaning and very like aggressively feminist. So um hey, thank you for dropping in there, RJ. Anyways, guys, so now that we have some people in here, I know I think even though the counter says two, I think we really have four. And as always, guys, if as always, I do appreciate any and all likes and shares and help out with the algorithm and see if we can get some more people in that way. So without any further ado, why don't we go ahead and get started on these articles? Let's see now. I read Kotaku. They have some funny articles that they take seriously, but for me, it's like the Onion. All right. All right. So, anyways, the first article we're going to read tonight is the Arctoons Roundup here. That makes it my fight. Arctoons Roundup for June 7th, 2021 from the Dark Herald. Now, just a reminder to everybody, Arctoons is kind of a web comic site that was started up by Archaven Comics. Some of the guys who are some of the principals involved in running that company are like Chuck Dixon and Box Day. And yes, I have heard some people, I know some people I do know has some criticisms of Box Day. I know I guess there's been a history of issues between like Box Day and Ethan the Skyver. We've talked a little bit about that. I know Batgoat has brought that up a bit, but at least they're doing something try to. And then Leto says, "Hi, critical. Saw you open mic. Gave a thumbs up and a little of today's the one you just had." All right. Yeah, we were talking about a little bit about that, a little, when earlier. Um, and just so you know, just so you know, RJ, I pretty much have processed everything through already, so I'm pretty much just trying to move on from that whole mess now. Anyways, I don't know, Vox. I just missed the whole Comics Gate stuff. I'm a weeb war baby. Yeah. All right. So, anyways, let's get to this stuff right here. Welcome to the Arctoons Weekly Roundup, bounding into comics weekly look into the side-splitting, funniest, edge of your seat, exciting, and the most dramatic comics that Arctoons has to offer. Drama has a history of getting the short shift in comic books. Understandable, of course, the bread and butter of comics publishers in the US have always been superheroes. And neither superheroes nor supervillains freely lend themselves to prolonged, deep self examination, leading to an existential crisis that finally resolves itself in a cathartic release. Yes and no. I think I would say yes and no. I mean, I do think, I think superhero comics do have their dramatic elements. They do integrate the con. It's just not as focused as what they're talking about here. You know, we of course know some of the romances throughout, like some of the well-known romances, for example, throughout like comics, particularly DC. You got Clark and Lois. You got Diana and Steve. Diana Prince, Steve Trevor, aka Wonder Woman. Steve Trevor. Clark Kent and Lois Lane. You got the Garricks. Those are just, you got, let's say, like Peter Parker and Mary Jane. You got um, Reed and Susan Richards. So, I think it may not be quite as heavily emphasized, but there's still dramatic elements within, like we're talking specifically more about romantic drama, obviously, but there's other aspects too. Sounds like Catwoman and Batman, Batgoat and Mary Jane. No, Mary Jane is Peter Parker's significant other there. Um, I guess here's a panel from yeah, Source Superboy number 68. I think that's supposed to be Bizarro Superboy right there. For the most part, what dramatic comics that were in America lean towards the Sally Brokenheart variety, at least during the Gold and Silver Age. Things began to change in the 19. In other words, I think that what they're talking about is what I just mentioned, the romance angle, the romance drama. Things began to change in the 1970s with with O'Neill's run on Green Lantern and Green Arrow. Yeah, the classic Brave and the Bold storyline. I think one of the things you'll probably be alluding to is when Ollie discovered that Roy Harper was was a became was an addict. There's Green Lantern number 76. And anybody who is, and I know RJ, you're probably more familiar with this. Of course, during the Silver Age, you know, like Green Arrow, aka Oliver Queen, was depicted as being a left, basically left leaning. Um, Green Lantern was right leaning. So, wink, wink. Was he addicted? Oh, Roy Harper became a heroin addict, I believe. I believe he became a heroin addict. In fact, there was a very dramatic uh, panel that you actually saw Roy, with a bunch of needles around him, sitting on the floor, and Ollie coming in like all like surprised. Uh, However, it was superheroes that the drama was revolving around, and the drama was usually political. The first rule of drama is the politics makes. Okay, the first rule of drama is that politics makes for bad drama. Kind of going back to that idea is that that's one of the things you just should not talk about with friends is politics. Of course, usually that depends. I mean, it's okay if let's say you share the same political beliefs, but if you have differing political beliefs, it's usually best if you want to keep your friendships, try to stay away from that topic of conversation. Okay. A political drama's first function and indeed primary obligation is to sermonize. And sermons are not engaging stories, they are lectures, which is true. And and everybody in this stream right now knows exactly what they're talking about here because this is exactly what's going on in comics right now. Is that you do have a lot of sermonizing. Uh, yeah. As we continue on with the story here, um, things were always different in Europe. Not better, just different. American comics were banned in Italy in 1939 by Mussolini and in France by the communists in 1949. Um, Actually, I would have thought the communists would have been out of there by. Anyway, this protectionism allowed native comics to expand and fill the void left in the marketplace. Basically, the idea is they didn't want to have American ideals like freedom and liberty and being able to say what you want, or being able to, keep and bear arms, protections against unlawful searches and seizures. They didn't want that kind of stuff being spread. Um, let's see. European comics writers either embraced the political restrictions or learn to get around them in order to tell their stories. Catholic comic books did much better in Europe than they did in America. The upshot of all this is that drama titles had a more fertile field to grow in across the Atlantic. As for Japan, the manga market is so segmented that if you are an 80-year-old grandmother, there is probably a manga for you. That's funny. Thinking an 80-year-old grandmothers or grandparents reading comic, right, even here in America, that's not too far fetched. I mean, drama had no trouble flourishing there. Today, the American market is still very limited, still a very limited place for dramatic interpretation unless you really like politics with your drama. However, Arctoons is always a different story. I guess what he's basically saying in all that is that Arctoons has actually developed some good drama stories. I think is what he's getting at. Um, whoa. Mhm. The Swan Knight Sun. We're the first generation of men raised by women. Tyler Durden. Fighting again? I was in the fight. I fought bravely. Did you win? Swan Knight Saga. It's not easy to be the only son of a single mother. It always goes one of two ways. Either she makes you the biggest mama's boy on the planet, or your mother will go to absurd lengths to make you a man among men. Uh, I wonder what that's supposed to mean. Anyways, if you lose a fight, the second type is always going to make you go back for seconds. And if that doesn't work, then thirds. Ah, okay, so that's what she means. Man among men. In other words, go around beating up all the other boys until you're the king of the mountain, basically. Not really. One Night Saga. That's enough drama as it is. But just imagine how worse that would be if your mother was a genuine, authentic warrior woman. Uh, Gilberic Parzival Moth, with a name like that, he probably had to learn to fight before he could walk. Tell, uh, tell me the tale from start to finish. And then I guess here's the next story. Flying Sparks. I guess the next feature they're talking about here. While most superhero drama today tends towards the political, that hasn't always been the case. Marvel used to be very good about not doing that. Yeah, and I know that there was some recent conversations about that, particularly with some of the things that Stan Lee had even said in previous interviews. The man behind the mask was was where the real story um, was when Stan Lee was creating the family atmosphere that surrounded the Fantastic Four or Peter Parker's heartbreak when his bad choice led to the death of his Uncle Ben. John Del Eros, Flying Sparks, examines the love life of Chloe Anderson and Johnny Benvenuti, two young people who have really hit it off. They are deeply in love, and while their above board lives couldn't be more in sync, their secret lives continue to be more in opposition. You've had more experience with you've had more experience with relationships. What else could it be? I don't buy that she's been studying, especially with those bruises. She's not cheating on you, boss. Maybe she's into roller derby or something. Roller derby? Or something. She's too nice of a girl. I'm good at reading people. Flying sparks. Anyways, just give me a quick sec. I gotta go off camera here for a quick moment. All right, I'm back. Hey, Dave, we see that you're here, man. Oh wait, okay. Oh, wait. All right. Hi, Leto. Hey, Mike. Hey, Dave. We good to see you, man. Hey, Dave. How goes it, buddy? My inguinal hernia is acting up, but I'm doing okay. How about yourself? Oh, well, I'm sorry. Sorry that you're having to deal with a hernia, man. That's not a very nice thing to have to deal with. And again, as always, guys, I do appreciate any and all likes and shares. So I thank you guys for those. Seeing if we can get some more people in here. But yeah. So, anyways, as we continue on with the story here, it's not roller derby. Flying can't get me to stop thinking about Johnny. Being alone only makes it worse. I have to find something productive to do so I can forget um, about him a little while. Flying spark. Of course, Johnny has his own secrets. Never good to kill someone in my business. No one would work with me if they knew how quickly I could fry them. Um, Thank you, Mr. Frank. I think I will accept your alien ruby as payment for my troubles. Oh boy, this almost seems like a bit of a good guy bad guy um, scenario. Ah, well, any decent love story is at its base a tale of antagonism. Seasons. Seasons has really taken me by surprise. It flew under the radar for a while, but it is now Arctoon's lead drama series. At first, I wasn't enthusiastic about it, as it just looked like the tale of a young man who had convinced himself he was in love with a girl who didn't remotely know he existed. These stories never end happily, and I was waiting for the excruciating scene where he makes his confession of true love. In real life, this is an extinction level event, and I didn't want to see it. Here's some of the artwork and stuff like that. Panel work here. But this story's twist shocked me. I was not expecting it at all, and now I'm absolutely hooked. Hmm. Yeah, the romantic dramas are a little bit more tricky because I wonder how they'd get, because I know from what I've read with Arctoons here, like one of the three things that they say no, like they say like I know they say no sex, no SJW, and I think they had one more no, in there. But sounds horrible. Have you tried pushing your organs back into their proper positioning? Leto, I don't think that's funny. It's not the worst. Passes in a couple hours. I just need to hydrate better and eat a little less meat, or at least chew properly. Hmm. That is exactly what I do, Leto. Oh my god, that was me like last week. Felt like I was giving birth. Hmm. You lay down and massage the guts to help the food go through. I tell my wife I'm never going to eat at that steakhouse again. And today I cooked steak, laugh out loud. I mean, meat tastes amazing. It's cruel. It really is. It's fine, Dave. Can't. It's fine. Dave can take my jokes. He can dish them back too. Yay! All right then. So let's see. So the next one is Silencioso. Silenciosa. Our spotlight this week is Arcton's newest title, Silenciosa. Fox Day and Chuck Dixon's collaboration. If you are familiar with the work of either writer, then you have certain expectations regarding this joint effort. Nothing, my dear, except further delay in finishing this dress. This probably wasn't what you were expecting, but give it time. Silenziosa is what happens when the Ankh Morpark Assassins Guild opens an all-girls boarding school in Renaissance Italy. This new title is just out of the starting gate, but it's already gaining around fast. This one is going to be giving the most popular titles at Arctunes a run for their money in a very short order. That's it for this week's Arctunes Roundup. If you would like to see your comic book on Arctunes, please send your submissions to submission@archaven.com. Arctunes' motto is that great stories belong to the world. If you would like to support the website, please consider buying a subscription. While Archaven titles on Arctunes will remain free to all forever, independent publishers will soon have the option of being directly supported by their patrons. See you next week. So there's that one. There's that story. How was your week over, Dave? Overall, Dave. This this is the good day I can talk without having a road in front of me. I don't know. Mm-mm. Dull, it's been raining every day for like 5 days. Same. Tons of work, IRL, and the time I want to stream, the rain takes my internet with it. Uh, so that's why you haven't been streaming. I've noticed you haven't been on as much lately. There. Ouch. It's fine. While I'm making my short videos more lately, and I've been foregoing my YouTube vendetta to watch them. That I still need to actually watch that extended Mario Brothers movie. Hmm. And I appreciate you coming to check out the stream as well, Dave. I thank you for that. Anyways, as we prepare to move on to the next story here, one of the first of two DC related stories here on this thing. Hawkman artist Brian Hitch blasts DC Comics for letting the recent series fail. Written by Jay Augustine, published today. And this has been getting talked about a bit over the last week or so. I know Yellow Flash did a video on it, I believe. So here we go. Quite often, a series will slip by readers that is praised by those who picked it up and vouched for by creators who worked on it. When the series unsurprisingly fails, the reasons can be manifold, but they usually wind up boiling down to poor sales. Hawkman number 5. But poor sales have their own motivating factors, which normally can be summed up in a lack of interest or an inadequate generation of buzz by the publisher in the case of a recently canceled Hawkman book. The latter could very well be the problem. Well, yeah, I could see that now since the Silver Age, Hawkman has been Hawkman, Kater Harl, or whatever identity goes by, has always been depicted as somebody who tends to be of a more conservative mindset. So there's a chance that maybe some of the upper levels of DC just chose not to promote it because Hawkman wasn't as likely to push the agenda they wanted pushing. So, anyways, give me a quick sec. Gotta do something real quick here. I'll be right back. And so here we are. It's pretty much the same. Laugh out loud. It's neat to see a lot of it restored. Even she, I like you folks. Hate the tube. Love the tubers. Yeah, isn't that always the case? I tried Odyssey, but won't let me transfer my work unless I have a certain following, so I gave up with that. Laugh out loud. I'll probably watch it as I drift off tonight. Last night I drifted off to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Show was my corner was way cornier than I remember. ATC, hey, ATC. Hey, peeps, sorry I'm late. Was watching anime and lost track of time. Well, you're here now, so if you can help out, of course, by liking and sharing the stream, that will be appreciated. Glad you're here, my friend. And a quick announcement now that he's here. Just let everybody know I've asked, as you guys probably know, Bat Goat is probably not going to be with us this week as he's, preparing for his son's wedding. So I've asked ATC to fill in for him on Friday, and he will be filling in for Bat Goat on Friday for the historic comics review when we go through DC Comics that went on sale there in November of 1937. So hope you guys will be all be there for that. Okay. Watch Big Bad Beetleborgs. Laugh out loud. I always laugh when I see blue colored Jay Leno on screen. Oh, but Amy Jo Johnson is still gorgeous. Mm-hmm. Hey, Action. Hey, Dave. Hey, Woody. Hey, Leto. Hey, Toys. How are you? How you hope you rest good? Doing well, Leto. Hey, that's great news for Batgoat. Mm-hmm. Leto, why no stream today? Laugh out loud. Hmm. Anyways, as we continue on here, oh yeah, famed Marvel and DC Comics artist Brian Hitch thinks this is so. Typically avoiding sensitive issues on social media, he was outspoken on Twitter late last month and blamed DC for lacking support commensurate um, with the quality of work he and Robert Venditti put into the reincarnating alien the last few years. There's the Hawkman #7 cover, DC Comics. It's a shame my Hawkman run with Robert Venditti didn't sell as well as we would have liked, Hitch lamented. I and the writers I work with can provide damn good comics, but it's up to the publishers to sell them to not creators. And here, I think we were let down. Well, yeah, but I know one of the things that Flash, he kind of dipped that a little bit. Well, in part, the creators can also help to promote their own work as well. So, and Didi would reply, "It's a missed opportunity, but one he's proud of. Such a missed opportunity," he said. But we brought our best and did what many said was impossible. That's enough for me to be proud of. Robert Venditti's Twitter and back on from Brian Hitch's Twitter. Doubling down, Hitch added, I think Robert Venditti and I held up our end of the creative bargain and gave DC a good comic. It was DC's job to interest anyone and everyone to buy it. They didn't, unfortunately. This led Jimmy Palmiotti to chime in about his prior experience working on Hawkman that preceded a cancellation. Justin Gray and I had a run after Jeff, and it was selling really well with Buzz, and randomly they took us off and put a new team on it, and it got canceled soon after. He wrote in reply to Hitch and Venditti, I mean, they pulled us off at their highest numbers. Clueless. Hitch would answer, it seems like a simple equation. Get the best out of the creative team and then market and sell the mess out of it. He then went on to explain the indifference and mismanagement one issue of Hawkman faced upon launch. Hawkman launched in a week sandwiched between the launch of Bendis's Superman and Snyder's Justice League. From what I understand, it's supposed to be Scott Snyder, not Zack Snyder. Scott Snyder is the comic book artist, I believe, or writer. Zack Snyder is the director. So he said, I think we got an announcement, but no pushes or fanfares. And of course, all the attention and stores and buyers went to those two launches, which had huge initiatives. That failure to market aside, Hitch still has his art, which he remains proud of. Still looking back at it, I'm genuinely proud of it. He wrote, accompanied by screenshots of his splash page pencils. Hitch then responded to one Twitter user who asked why comics aren't marketed despite huge film releases from Marvel Studios and Warner Brothers. He explained because mass market advertising only works if the product is easy to find anywhere. Comics have been primarily a small hobby market for at least the last 25 years. The characters are worldwide big business in media and licensing, but comics are not. Brian Hitch Brian Hitch isn't telling our readers anything they haven't suspected already, but he further highlights the slipshod way DC Comics continues to be run while business circles trade. Gurgle, 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 gurgle. See what you guys may have. Look at a couple things here. First, let's see. 4 minutes in, so no vibrate. Oh god, no vibrator toys. Uh, I deal with that stuff too much in my IRL work. Okay. Leto, why would I send you something you see every day? Okay, this conversation seems a little saucy. Oh, okay, great. Anything Vega related? Surprise me. How about my life and my my little and you an exploded toy. Um, I broke in my mail day video. They got a point. They don't advertise comics on TV. Doesn't work. Yeah. So, anyways, let's move on to the next story here. Of course, we at times when we do see release information, so that we promote it here as best we can. Uh, anyways, new Masters of the Universe Revelation tie-in series announced, written by John F. Trent, published today. Dark Horse Comics and Mattel announced a brand new Masters of the Universe Revelation tie-in comic book series. In a press release, Dark Horse announced the tie-in series will be a 4-issue miniseries that will serve as a prequel to the upcoming Masters of the Universe Revelation animated series from Netflix and Mattel Television later this year. And I see some information here. Specifically, the story takes place after a vicious Orlax attack on King Randor. Following the attack, He-Man learns the creature is linked to the origin of the Sword of Power. Dark Horse adds to save Randor, put an end to the chaos. He-Man embarks on an epic journey that puts him against his longtime Skeletor and Evil Lyn, and sees Teela take the reins of a powerful legacy. Dark Horse details the story arc for the new comics was conceived by the show's executive producers Kevin Smith and Rob David, who also served as the creative director and writer of DC Comics' Master of the Universe releases from 2012 to 2021, as well as show writer Tom Sheridan. The artwork is done by Mindy Lee with Rico Renzi on colors and Darren Bennett doing the letter. Rob David commented on the goal for the series when the Masters of the Universe franchise first launched nearly 40 years ago, back in 1983. Each action figure came with a comic book to enable children to further explore the world of Eternia. He added, now in partnership with Dark Horse, we will go back to our roots to set up the upcoming Masters of the Universe Revelation television series with a world shattering comic book tale. The first issue will feature cover art by Stephen Sajik. Dave Wilkins provides cover art for the other 3 issues. There will also be a variant cover for issue number 1 by Mike Mignola and Dave Stewart. There will also be variants on subsequent issues by Bill Sienkiewicz, um, Walt Simonson, and Laura Martin, and more. The first issue is expected to hit comic book shelves on July 7th, 2021. The second issue will arrive on August 11th. The third arrives on September 9th. The fourth drops October 13th. Do you plan on checking out the prequel series? Anyways, that was the end of that one. So they posted, comma laughing, Dave. Oh, full size mask. Kevin Smith has done awesome work in the past. Crunch face. Mask dude. Come on. How about a little aloud? Yeah, I love Dogma and Clerks cartoon. Hopefully he can channel the entertainment gods. I do plan on checking the series. Anyway. So let's see. Yeah, we're just past the hour mark, so we're making good time. It looks like. So, anyways, the fourth and final comic story of the day here. I would have thought that maybe RJ would still be with us at this point when we got to this one because this one's a little more classic. Cover of the day: Alex Toth and Frank Giacoya's All American Western number 107, written by John F. Trent, published today. Today's cover of the day is Alex Toth and Frank Giacoya's All American Western number 107. This was a book, of course, that started out as All American Comics and then transitioned to a Western title um, as All American Western. The issue was originally published back in May of 1949. Um, the issue featured a number of stories, including Cheyenne Justice, A Crown for Tony Barrett, Silent Star wins his war bonnet, the case of the Russell Mule, a long arrow, and a short story titled Cookie. Take a look at the cover here. So, a blazing Johnny Thunder. Now, this Johnny Thunder, like, okay, so there were basically, to let you guys know, there were two Johnny Thunders in the DC universe. There was one on Earth 2, or the Golden Age era, and there was one on Earth 1. The one most people are actually familiar with is the one from Earth 2, because that Johnny Thunder, John L. Thunder, was that was the one with the Thunderbolt. That was the one who was bonded to the Magnesian Thunderbolt. The Johnny Thunder here they're talking about was John Payne, who was basically a Mormon school teacher who became a gunslinger in like Arizona, who went by the name Johnny Thunder. So there's a little bit of interesting tidbits right there for you. Of course, All American Western number 107 here. It's a slow news days. Laugh out loud. Well, there's some interesting things here. I mean, about Dogma's Elite Demon was interesting. How about that? Amazon stopped charging me taxes. Laugh out. Guess they found out delivery to the res is untaxable. Laugh out loud. Nice. Hmm. Alright, so anyways, it's the stories were done by a who's who of comic book talent in the late 1940s. Justice was written by Robert Kaniher, who also did some Wonder Woman stories after William Moulton Marston left DC. So he was the second guy to focus on, with pencils by Alex Toth and inks by Frank Giacoia. A crown for Tony Barrett was drawn by Gil Kane with inks by Frank Giacoia. Silent Star Wins His War Bonnet was written and drawn by Joe Kubert. Case of the Russell Mule was drawn by Erwin Hassan and inks by John Giunta. The Long Arrow was written by Lee Goldsmith with pencils by Joe Kubert and inks by John Giunta. Finally, the short story Cookie was written by John Broome under the pen name John Osgood. All American 107 is a rather rare comic. Heritage Auction reports that a 9.8 CGC grade sold for 13,000 or $1,314.50 back in May of 2007. More recently, Heritage Auctions reported a 9.2 CGC graded issue sold for $432 on March 8th, 2021. What do you make of Toth Giacoia's All American Western number 107? Now we'll get to some anime stories here. Um, my wife's tomato planner is almost done printing. Huh, nice. I posted a quick video of it, Leto, on Twitter. Cool. I'll check it out. Um, those tomatoes are gonna be demonic. Attack of the killer tomatoes, right? And delouses souls. Uh, souls make great fertilizer. Anyways, guys, I'll be right back. I gotta go. I gotta step away from the computer for a couple minutes. I'll be right back. Alrighty, then I'm back now. Let's see if there's anything you guys may have said that I was done. Tomatoes or tomatoes? Article here is interesting. You guys are going a little laugh out loud. Hey, 420 plays it. A lot of anime creators overseas aren't liking how our politics are selling over there. Yeah, I mean, we're going to be talking about that here in a sec. As soon as I get through all the me not liking it either, Letta. Yep, I think there's a lot of that going around, guys. Understandably so, Leto. U.S. politics is toxic as heck. All those SJW, I bet Crunchyroll gonna be making the most noise next. Yep. Did anyone else see the Amazon driver attack the old lady um, video out there today? I did not. No, probably hold funding anime as collateral to censor um, it the way they want. Well, again, there are other companies you can go through to get to get them here to America. So my predictions. No, I didn't see that toys. I pirate all anime and only buy anime I want to support. Yeah. All right, so here we go. I have a couple of stories here that we kind of were alluding to. Love Hina mangaka warns of rising pressure from foreign markets to introduce political correctness into manga. Written by Spencer Bakuli, published actually last Friday. 4th. So here we go. Mangaka Ken Akamatsu, perhaps best known as the mangaka behind the extremely popular Love Hina series, recently shared his concerns regarding the rising pressure from Western markets to introduce political correctness into manga and the possible negative effects such a push could have for creators and fans across medium. And I do believe that Yellow Fly, I believe that there are some people who did cover this a little bit as well. Love Hina, Volume 5, 2002, Kodansha, art by Ken Akamatsu. A vocal and outspoken anti censorship critic in his own right, Akamatsu broached the subject of political correctness during the opening panel of a recent manga artist Mirari conference, an online event held last December wherein various manga creators were invited to discuss their thoughts on the current status of the industry and their outlooks on the future. According to a machine translation of Logme's transcript of the panel, when asked for his thoughts on the manga and overseas market, um, Akamatsu laughed and responded, "In short, it's politically correct." Funny girls. Love Hina. Secrets at Hinata Hotel to Dantu Kodansha art by Ken Akamatsu. Political correctness. External pressure is coming, such as the pressure to introduce political correctness into manga and movies. Mangaka added. That's dangerous, isn't it? Akamatsu then explains so far when Japanese manga is at the stage of looking at the world, there is a pressure on the scene to meet more global standards. Lavina Volume 12, art by Ken Akamatsu. I'd like to have the manga artists unify their opinions to some extent as to whether such things are correct or not, he continued. However, when the sales of works that have become globalized and have no sharp edges are good, they end up saying, oh, political correctness might be good. The veteran mangaka's sentiments are echoed by co panelist Takumi Kobayashi, the representative director of Publishing House Number 9 Company Limited, who similarly opined, regardless of the company, I think that freedom of expression should be respected, in my personal opinion. Avina Mystery Gifts at Hinata Hotel, and two, art by Ken Akamatsu. Akamatsu later remarked, if you don't go abroad, political correctness problem isn't a battle at all, which prompted Kobayashi to share his personal idea that I don't think a series will sell that much when it comes to selling itself as politically correct. The point is, manga that was released without being conscious of political correctness cannot be read due to the political correctness problem, said Kobayashi. I think this is a mess like a fire. Love Hina Mugendai, Kodansha art, 2002 Kodansha, art by Ken Akamatsu. Recalling how he had heard that the excitement of Hollywood movies is generally decided by script doctors and scenario doctors, Akamatsu joked, from now on, I'd like to release various blacks and whites with political correctness in mind. It may be the same no matter what you look at, like Avengers conceded Akamatsu. I don't know, but after all, it's a hit. Subhina, Volume 13, 2002, Kodansha, art by Ken Akamatsu. In turning to the debate of mass appeal versus artistic authenticity, Akamatsu observed this the one that hits may go to Hollywood, but it is better to have freedom of expression. Manga is mainly about freedom of expression, and it feels like you don't give in to political correctness, noted Akamatsu, before questioning, is it a loss if the politically correct works get overwhelming power? I wonder if that means I wonder if that means that's kind of an interesting pose right there, don't you think? Avina Mystery Gifts at Hinata Hotel 2002, Kodansha art by Ken Akamatsu. However, Kobayashi reassured Akamatsu, even if there is entertainment that goes against political correctness, it would be different if this current idea of political correctness remains the same 10 years later, 20 years later, 30 years later, so on and so on. It was even 5 years ago, I was told recently, Kobayashi said, The possibility that this will become the standard for the future is not zero, but it may change again. He concluded, that's why I think it's important not to win or lose in the short term, but to always create something that you can be proud of as entertainment. Love Hina Zero, 2002, Kodansha Art by Ken Akamatsu. What do you make of Akamatsu and Kobayashi's thoughts on political correctness in the manga industry? Let us know your thoughts on social media or in the comments below. So, see if you guys have been saying anything there. I didn't check. Yeah, yes, I. Interesting. A former Amazon employee was 20 something black lady versus an angry 67-year-old white lady who wanted the package she was supposed to have. Amazon is a little woke sometimes. So, what will they do if enough leftists side with the driver? No, she was fired immediately. Complaining about a late package isn't hate speech. It's not. Had it been just words, Amazon probably would have kept her. But it was assault, and police were involved. Amazon HR washing their hands of that. Left will start GoFundMe for her, then realize they left and have no jobs. Sorry, but if Mr. Rogers put a finger on my wife, I'd beat Mr. Rogers to death, and I love Mr. Rogers. Uh, hey, toys, you shouldn't yell. You should have yelled at your driver when you got that goose egg package this morning. How about that? How about that? Yeah, Leto, I already got my money back. How about that? Good. Amazon shipping facility is an hour away from my house. Okay, so anyways, let's see. We've got one last main story to get through, and we're coming up at an hour 25. So we're getting close towards the end there. One more story to go through here. And this is kind of a similar story to the one we just read. This has more to do Chinese censorship as opposed to Western censorship. Veteran anime director Shinji Takamatsu reveals impact on Chinese censors on anime production schedules. Written by Spencer Bakuli, and it was published yesterday, June 6th. Veteran anime director Shinji Takamatsu, whose resume includes stints directing Gintama and co-producing Mobile Suit Gundam Charge Counterattack, recently opened up on the impact Chinese censors have had on production schedules across the anime industry. As from Mobile Suit Gundam Charge Counterattack 1988 Sunrise. On May 28th, Takamatsu revealed that the reason recent animations have a long production period to the point where it has become difficult to predict where the peak will come was due to the rising level of attention being paid to the Chinese market. It used to be the busiest during the broadcast, wrote Takamatsu, according to a translation of its tweet provided by Anime News Network. Nowadays, there are more cases where all the episodes have to be delivered at once. And the main reason for this is because they have to go through a content check for China. Mm-hmm. Excuse me a moment, guys. I gotta take care of something real quick. Be right back. Sorry about that. The dog was barking, so I had to go figure out what's going on. Let's see now. Oh yeah, we are. I think we already read all that, right? Okay, actually, good times. Amazon uses the post office or a third party shipping services out here, so can't y'all at over it. Excuse me one more time, guys. Sorry. All right, had to deal with the dog again. Sorry about that, guys. Let's see now. We kind of read that. Uh-oh, the sleep bug hitting me hard. Laugh out loud. Did Mike ask chat to? I mean, no, I did not. I'm feeling harassed. I did not. Their toys. I had to go and check on my dog. Okay, I had to go check on the family dog there. I'm still watching Skeletor laugh. It just tickles my fancy. Contagious. Leto, you worked hard today. Hit the couch. All right. So, anyways, back to the article here. Hey, oh yeah, Takamatsu further explained it's necessary for this check to take place 3 months before the broadcast, as in cases where it's difficult to be profitable domestically, it's essential to sell it overseas. Recalling how recently he had a meeting for a work that we're aiming to broadcast in fall next year, and another one for spring a year after, Takamatsu then asked, "But isn't this a strain on the schedule?" Sheepish smile. If we at the studio are told deliver all the episodes 3 months before the broadcast, then we have no choice but to make it according to that deadline, said Takamatsu. In conclusion to this thread, we don't have the authority to decide how to do business with it. What do you make of China's growing influence in the anime industry? Let us know your thoughts on social media in the comments down below. So there we go. So that's all the main stories for tonight. Let's see, where are we at now? Time wise, what I think. I know we're getting up. So we're at hour 34. Um, I'm just checking, of course. Nick's on in 30 minutes. Women and cameras, schools don't see children, Trump's pants, and more. So I have no idea what all that's about, but hey, hey ho. Let's see what you guys have been saying here. Have about Dave, the OG Skelly, or the 2000s one. This couch looking comfy AF. OG. So basically, Alan Oppenheimer, then, Dave, right? Alan Oppenheimer. He was the one who voiced Skeletor back in the day. Sweet. China's influence? That was getting old. I wasn't paying the closest attention, but did that article have anything to do with China until the question at the end? Yeah, what they're talking about was veteran anime director Takamatsu was basically commenting on how because of Chinese censorship, if Japan wants to try to sell animes in China, they have to send it like 3 months in advance so they can look it over and make sure that it fits their content criteria. So I think I remember a story A woman poses as her 13-year-old daughter and sneaks into school with a camera. Hmm. Nick might cover how a lot of women think they look younger. They look young and camera. Okay, I know I just went out there. Okay, I thought that story was a woman wanted to promote her Instagram little. Anyways, guys, we are at an hour and 37 here, so guess it probably would be a good time to start winding down. Um, are you guys ready for this day in each history? That's one story. There's a new one who poses as her daughter. The lady who posed as her daughter went unnoticed most of the day, I believe. All right, so let's see. As I said, I'm thinking it's about time to start winding down. So, are you guys ready for this day in each history? But the bee hole, how about loud? Let a woman be crazy. Nietzsche, me daddy. Woo woo. Yeah, but they got her once the video went up. Nietzsche it up, great Nietzsche King. Nietzsche it up. Oh, great Nietzsche King. Okay, so without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and today being Monday, June the 7th, 2021, we're going to take a look back at this day in Nietzsche history. And the first thing we're going to go back to is we're going to go back to the year 2000. As on this day in 2000, the 255th issue of Cerebus, published by Aardvark-Vanaheim, went on sale on this date in 2021 years ago today. Went on sale for $2.25 and was 24 pages. Written, drawn, and lettered by Dave Sim. Title was Going Home 24. So on this date, 21 years ago today, the 255th issue of Cerebus went on sale on this date from Aardvark Vanaheim. Uh, or do you want to be? Oh boy! Oh boy! Safe word equals discombobulated. Oh boy! Oh boy! You guys are being a little racy tonight, aren't you? That hard? Oh boy! Laugh out loud. Haha! If it wasn't for mind, I wouldn't have known of the discombobulated meme. That's a good one. Laugh out loud. Neat and confused. Laugh out loud. Anyways, moving on to the next piece in each history on this June 7th, 2021, as we will now, let's see, head 1 year into the future from that. to 2001. On this date in 2001, the final episode of Zobumafu aired on PBS on this date in 2001. So 20 years ago today. So 20 years ago today, the final episode of Zobumafu aired on PBS Kids. That was the final episode of Zobumafu aired on this date in 2001. So 20 years ago today. And the final piece of Nietzsche history tonight, on a bit of a sad note here. On this date back in 2006, which was 15 years ago today, John Tenta, known better to most wrestling fans as either Earthquake from the WWF or Shark/Avalanche in WCW, passed away at the age of 42 from bladder cancer. So on this date 15 years ago today, John Tenta, better known to wrestling fans as Earthquake, Avalanche, Earthquake in the WWF, Avalanche, Shark in WCW, passed away at the age of 42 from bladder cancer. So that's all. That's all the Nietzsche history for tonight. Let's see what you guys are saying here. We start to close things out here. Let's see. Oh yeah, we saw that, I believe. Yeah, we saw that. Let's see. Sounds like a cuss word. Laugh out loud. Toys can go Zobu Mafu. It, Zobu Mafu was apparently a series on PBS. Now, those in the States know that PBS is a public broadcasting system. That's basically that's a set of stations where like Sesame Street, Reading Rainbow, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, we're all on basically. So all right, Mike, I checked out Yusha Yoshihiko. It is hilarious. I think Rip R.I.P. F. Dave with his jokes, with his Zobu Mafu. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Owl Hedda. But for real, there's a murders white puppy in Yusha. That is a reference to Monty Python. All right. Well, anyways, guys, we're at an hour and 45. I think I've hit everything for tonight. So I thank you guys for being here. And I look forward to seeing you all back here tomorrow night when we'll cover more niche news and topics. And I hope to see you then. All right. Bye.